News, views, and opinions from the English Premier League. You are listening to EPL Weekly.
We got a jingle, yeah, and we're showing it off. It's brilliant. Thank you very much. Welcome to EPL Weekly, your weekly debrief of the English Premier League. On this show, we're going to take a look back through the weekend's matches, Arsenal's potential new ownership, and Roz will give us his expert knowledge on the Fantasy Premier League. Roz, you're top of one of your leagues now, aren't you? As of this weekend,
I am. As of yeah.
I'm sure you'll be delighted to tell us all about it later. In the midst of all that as well, we'll try and preview a bit of the Leicester Palace game if we get a chance. As always, we want to know what you think if you're watching this. So get involved and throw your comments into the ring for us to discuss. Bear with me a sec, sorry. Slight technical issue. Follow us on Twitter at Eplw Pod. Alongside me today, regular Roz, we got Matt, who is making his second appearance, and Eplw debutant Sam. Good to see you, Sam. Thanks for helping us out tonight.
Thanks, everyone.
Before we get on to the actual football, I just wanted to... actually, no, let's introduce you first. Right, so tell me who you are, tell me about yourself, and tell me one thing you're looking forward to talking about on the channel. I am a bit hungover. I don't know if you noticed. One thing you're looking forward to talking about in this episode. Roz.
Yeah, how's it going? Roz, Millwall season ticket holder, so obviously I have lots to say about the Premier League. But yeah, looking forward to talking about, let's say, the Man United Leeds game, because I think everyone set that up as, be a 5-5 absolute thriller. Including the manager, I think Solskjaer said there would definitely be goals. So one of the worst games I watched all season. Shocking.
Yeah, it was pretty poor. Matt.
Yeah, hi everyone. Matt, a Man United fan for 30 plus years. I'm looking forward to speaking about anything but the ESL. Quite frankly.
Don't you worry, mate.
There's been social media blowing up about the European Super League. Be good to get back to some normality and talk about good old Premier League football. And positively, fans in a football stadium again. I think that's a great thing.
What? You heard it here first, guys.
I think that's allowed. You can't have the accused, the fans of the accused, the 6 clubs that everyone is holding to account, and we got 2 of them, 3 of them, with Arsenal and you, Joe. Got 3 of them here today. As not a fan of any of those 6 teams, I'm not going to let any of you get away with it. You would be like the Man United fans going, oh, stop talking about it. You would bring that up. The fact that we wanted to, put every other club in the Football League into administration, screw you all over. Nah, you're not getting off that easy. Knock them all 30 points.
Okay, and finally, Sam, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, Joe. After that, I'm looking forward to... I'm Tottenham season ticket holder. Can't wait to talk about Super League. all over it. Can't wait.
Well, Roz got over it at least, anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, interesting that... I pot calling the kettle black, potentially, but interesting that Tottenham were even in the mix for that, right? Sam, what are your views on that?
Oh, sorry, there was some sort of crap on the line. Sorry, say again. Well, I don't want to go into in a massive diatribe now, but how, as a modern, if you've been a football fan in like the 2000s, 2010s, and you've grown up with the way football's moved, like none of this should be surprising in any way. Number one, but like number two, and it kind of answers your question and doesn't answer your question. But for Tottenham and Arsenal, especially, if you're being, especially Arsenal, because you've been terrible for a while, but.
I'll save that one. I'll save that one up for later, and I'll come back at you, mate. Don't you worry about it.
If you're a club that's not part of like the Sky Sports top 4, really, and you get invited to be at the top table, or say no and get condemned to like being terrible forever, what a nonsense choice to have to make. You have to say yes. You can't say no. As if Tottenham saying no is going to make everyone go, yeah, we're not going to do it now.
Mm. Interesting. No, it's good to get your opinion because obviously, it was a similar situation for Arsenal, and it turns out to be the richest clubs, the clubs with the nicest stadiums, the newest stadiums, the clubs with the biggest fan bases globally. And that's what it is essentially, and to kind of move the conversation on a bit, talking about Arsenal and how they kind of their apology, as with all these apologies that have come out in the last week, was, oh, we never would have done this if we realised the fans wouldn't have, like, oh God, pull the other one, mate.
At least you said sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean,
true.
Surely, like, everyone knows what Levy's about anyway. Like, Levy, he's not going to come out and say, "Oh, I'm sorry for like looking for a business opportunity." Businessman first.
yeah. But I mean,
And,
I've got that image of Perez and Levy in the little WhatsApp group, just the two of them left.
Yeah.
Really sorry, I still want to do it.
yeah, just
But
like
it's-
Perez was like, no, you can keep Bale, you can keep Bale.
Yeah.
Well, we've got this special relationship, haven't we?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, in the same colour.
Yeah, which means Real Madrid buy our best players.
So that's interesting. That's where Kane's going then, is it, in the summer? Look, right, we'll get onto this in a bit. Hang on. I wanted to talk about Arsenal's ownership situation because unless you've been in a cave or under a rock for the last 24 hours, you will have heard that Arsenal legends Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp and Patrick Vieira have joined Spotify founder and billionaire Daniel Ek's bid to buy the club. Now, nothing concrete at the moment. He just put out a social media post, Daniel Ek, saying that he'd be up for it, that he loved Arsenal and la-di-da. And then there's some more weight has been thrown around it by, these Invincibles. That's a story from the BBC, by the way. I think a guy from The Guardian broke it. I want to get your opinions on it. So, Matt, what do you reckon?
Well, if it is true, and as you see, you've got to be careful with rumours like these. If it is true, I think it's great news for Arsenal. They can get Kroenke out and get an owner in who probably cares about the club 100 times more than Kroenke ever did. Someone that's probably going to be more interested in investing in the team and the squad rather than taking money out of the club. I think Arsenal's transfer spending the last 20 years has massively declined from the end of the 90s when Vieira and those guys left. They needed to reinvest and buy new players to build the stadium with the promise of bringing in more revenue to reinvest in the squad. And, sod's law, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
They took all that revenue and ran with it. So, great news for Arsenal. Slightly jealous as a United fan that, we haven't got a billionaire startup tech founder who's willing to come in and buy us. But
I mean, it would be a good thing, wouldn't it, Ros, to have especially that bunch of Invincibles just sort of hanging around the club?
I think that's crucial, and I was pretty cynical before that came out. To be honest, I mean, this guy's business is music, right? As musicians, Spotify have been screwing over musicians since their inception. This guy's not interested, he's not someone that cares about people. He's like very famously screwed over people in the area that he works in for a very long time. If they're clever enough or find a way to do it, where like Bergkamp and Edwin van der Sar have at Ajax some sort of creative technical control, and if they're actually making decisions in the boardroom with that rather than just investing money, but then actually this guy gets the final say, then that I think could be a really good thing.
Hang on, let me just...
If you'll ask me to us anything, like, don't trust a venture capitalist.
Yeah, let me just message...
There aren't any good ones.
Let me just message Dennis, my mate Dennis Bergkamp, and I'll see if that is the plan to get him, for them to be at the decision-making level. No, it's a very good point, though, that you make. Also, Crazy Mussman is in the comments. He says, what the heck is going on? Nice one, Muss. Very good. We miss you, mate. And he's put a question for Sam there, which I'll come to a bit later. We'll save it, Sam. First off, I want to quickly get your opinion. You're honest, and
why would you want? Why would anyone want that guy running a football club? What is a man who is basically just taking everyone's money for their efforts? What is he going to do better? Really?
Yes.
Not to come hard down on him.
Quite
I'm glad someone
succinct.
agrees with me. I think I'm the only person that's been negative about it since it's come out. But I'm just like the guy that owns Spotify. You sure?
Yeah. What's he like? You going from Ozil on 350 grand a week for doing nothing to this guy paying people who do everything? Was it 0.0003 pence per someone listening to that song? Like,
Yeah, very good point.
Less than that.
yeah.
Small zero. For
You got to be careful with what it's like, and not to go too into it, but like you could swap Daniel Levy for anyone, but I don't see another chairman who's done as well as he's done, and sustainably so, over 20 odd years, to be fair. at the top end of the Premier League level. Obviously, other chairmen have done well, but do you know what I mean? You could swap Daniel Levy, but who are you going to get?
I mean, Etienne Capoue really filled Gareth Bale's shoes, didn't he?
Yes. It's tough on.
I think the point with Arsenal and Daniel Levy, as Joe alluded to, is the fact of having these former players, Arsenal club legends, seem to be, as I say, you've got to be careful, heavily involved in everything that's going on and advising. And as you say, Roz, if they can have some sort of say in decisions and they are a controlling partner, for want of a better description, in this whole takeover, then it's great for Arsenal. If not, then it could all go the same way as it has with Kroenke. But I think, there's also the element of, can it actually get any worse than it is now?
Well, yeah, you'd like to think not, really. Who knows?
The most interesting one by far is Dennis Bergkamp, right?
Yes.
Is he actually still in his role at Ajax? But he's certainly got experience of working in that system. I have a feeling I thought he was still there. That's not still is.
No, go on. Sorry.
No, but I'm just interested whether the Dennis Bergkamp still has his role at Ajax.
I mean, he was assistant manager there from 2011 to 2017. I'm not sure what he's doing now, but he's it'd be good for the club. Anyway, let's move things on, guys. We're going to talk football. We're going to do our classic. Oh well, it's not the classic. It's the new way of doing things, isn't it? We do reverse chronological order. So we're going to start with yesterday's Midlands derby, which I predicted correctly in yesterday's show. I went for a Bishop Desmond, and it finished 2-2. There you go. I also said Pereira man of the match, by the way, which also happened. Who watched this game then? Roz, did you see it?
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
Actually, really decent, I thought. And I think Big Sam's really brought a great mentality. I mean, it was a shocking error at the end
Yes.
to let in, was it Davis?
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, actually just the fact that West Brom maybe 6 months ago would have totally given up by then. The fact that they can sort of go a goal down with that penalty and then just beat 2-1 up within, 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought the better side, actually, West Brom.
Yeah.
Well,
Sam, what do you make of it? It's painful, isn't it, to watch sometimes. You see these teams come up and there's a couple of players there you think, well, they're staying in the Prem or they're going to stay at the top level. Is Mateus Pereira one of those at West Brom? Can you see him staying in the Premier League?
I mean, it depends what they do. Depends if they can convince, if they go down. Depends if they can convince him to stay for a year and see if he can get him back up or something. But yeah, he's got a move in him. I wouldn't want him to go, too big straight away, because then that's when a player ends up getting knocked back down again. But yeah, he's got a move in him. He's got an Everton in him, or somewhere to really challenge him. That's respect to Everton.
yeah. He reached double figures yesterday, didn't he? And that's actually to think. Like Ross was saying, the mire that West Brom were in, it's just a bit too late, isn't it, Matt? That Big Sam's come in and it's just...
Yeah, well, I was going to say, they clearly made a massive improvement in the Big Sam, contrary to many people's popular opinion that they'd be long ball merchants. They actually haven't really been long ball merchants. They played some good football, which has shocked everyone. And, the run of results they've had recently, I actually fancy them as a bit of an outside bet to pull themselves out of trouble. I think Thursday's game is what did for them, the defeat to Leicester.
Yeah.
The Villa game 3 days after that. Yeah, I think that was a stretch too far.
Yeah,
even if they'd won that game, I think they'd still be goners, to be fair.
Yeah.
But they can hold their heads high the way they've finished the season at the Big Sam. And as you say, there's a couple of players in that team that will get Premiership moves next season, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Roz, in terms of Aston Villa, 2 wins in 10. No Grealish, no Villa.
Yeah, looks like that, doesn't it? I mean, also nothing to play for, no Villa. I think it's important to look at, a couple of results didn't go their way. They didn't... I think they got a couple of wins without Grealish early days, like right at the beginning of the injury. I think basically since all those sides have really kicked on for those Champions League places, apart from, of course, Arsenal, the... Villa haven't, and I don't think they can even get Champions League or European football now. I might be wrong, but it's highly unlikely. I think they're just sort of...
It's highly unlikely that you're wrong. Is that blowing your own trumpet a bit there, mate?
No, I think
Yeah, it's. I mean, on the face of it, the
Technically, they can
stats.
still get Champions League mathematically.
The
Yeah,
trouble with it is this is Villa, Sons, Grealish, to get all cultured there. Sons. And they could very well be Sons Grealish next season. He's probably one of the players most rumoured with a move, I would say.
Who do you think's got the money to buy him? Like actual, not who's big enough to buy him, but who's actually got the cash to do it?
I would say Man United, and I would say that he feels a bit like a Man United player. I would also say that they've got too many good players in those positions, but that didn't stop them buying Donny van de Beek. You know, like there doesn't seem to be any logic there. They've needed a holding midfielder for much longer than they needed number 10. They've signed, but basically, I don't think they really know what they're doing in the transfer window. So I would say that they probably could go for a Jack Grealish.
Yeah. So say
Bye Ed Woodward. Bye Ed.
say Man United pick up Grealish then, Matt. And we're going to get onto Man United now. We'll talk Man United Leeds. Man United, is that enough for them to mount a serious challenge next season, or do they need something else? Maybe they need a centre back or two, actually, or three.
They need a captain, Joe. They need a captain.
Oh, here we go. Another clean sheet yesterday for Harry Maguire leading the side as well.
But he also had a dreadful back pass to Henderson, which kept him up in my massive mistake every single game since the Leicester Cup game. I'm not trying to look for it. He makes an absolute shocker of a gaff every single game and counting.
It was a heavy back pass. Keeper dealt with it.
Yeah, so we're of course talking about Leeds Man United, finished 0-0. One thing I noticed, actually, Bruno Fernandes, he's getting a little bit stroppy, isn't he? He's
Yeah, well, the last few games, teams have figured out that they just need to rile him up, and they've been hacking him, basically. I mean, yesterday's game, to deal directly with that game, you know, the old phrase "dirty Leeds" was back, wasn't it? Really, to be quite honest. I mean, 21, 22 fouls in the game. They were just hacking at Greenwood every time he touched the ball.
How many of those were United players going down easy, though? What was the real balance of the numbers?
There was a couple where United players went down easy, but they weren't necessarily not fouls.
No.
There was a lot. There's diving constantly. I mean, Reggie on in the cup final yesterday.
Let's be friends. Genuine question: How much is there? Because I don't watch loads of United, but how much is there in the? People say that Pogba in the midfield has unbalanced things for Fernandes. Is that actually a thing, or do you think it's just a coincidence that not because Pogba's bad or anything, just?
It's a strange one because it does unbalance the side a little bit. We're very dangerous down the left with Shaw and Rashford. Down the left, most of our attacks go down that side. When Pogba comes in, it tends to be more central, but it gives a bit of creativity. And Pogba and Fernandes are playing really well together. You know, so I don't think it makes us worse. If anything, it potentially makes us better because with Pogba and Fernandes, we've got more chance of breaking down teams that come to play for a 0-0, like Leeds did yesterday, like Burnley, the previous match. Having Pogba and Fernandes together from the start yesterday, we probably would have won the game. As it was, we couldn't break them down. We just didn't have that extra creativity. I mean, Calvin Phillips did a great job on Fernandes. If we exclude the fact he should have had about 7 bookings during the match. But he did a great job marking Fernandes out of the game for most of it, which stopped our creativity with Fred and McTominay in midfield. You know, we just don't have anything without Pogba.
Yeah.
And to come back to your original question, I think that's why our key position this summer, it doesn't seem to be coming out in any of the news or transfer rumours, is a defensive midfielder, a proper one. Fred and McTominay, for me, they're box-to-box midfielders. They haven't got the discipline positionally, the tackling ability, and just that knack. You know, someone like a Fernandinho just knows where to be and when to be there. You know, Makelele used to do it. Keane used to do it for us. You know, we need a proper defensive midfielder. We can then play Pogba and Fernandes as a central midfielder, and then you can have Rashford on the left, Greenwood on the right, and all of a sudden, you've just made your team 10 times better with one player.
Matt.
Whereas if we sign a centre back, we sign a striker, you've still got that midfield conundrum for me.
Matt, who then?
So Bissouma, been a good player for Brighton this season. Ndidi for Leicester, if we could get hold of him, what a signing that'd be. We could prize N'Golo Kante away from Chelsea. Highly unlikely with Tuchel there now. previously with Lampard there was a good opportunity there, but someone of that ilk, there's players out there. We might have to take a bit of a gamble on someone that they can turn out to be the next Kante or whatever it might be.
Why on earth would you go for a 30-odd-year-old Kante and not go for a 23-year-old Declan Rice?
Because I think Kante is the better player in that position.
Of course he's better in terms of like building something. For me, that signing just kind of makes sense to me. It's that sort of Man United getting a good young English ex-West Ham player. Like it's kind of fits the narrative for Man United for me.
Yeah, but he could turn out. No, Declan Rice for me, the jury's still out as to whether he could be that top class defensive midfielder. Similar to the conversation we had.
I don't know. He looks all right this season.
It's the medium fish in the medium pond. Is he another case of that? And if he makes a step up to a United or a City or a Chelsea, would he make that bridge? Would he bridge that gap and be a
he played all right for England, hasn't he? As a lone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not saying he won't.
Pivot, not even a double pivot with someone barking beside him.
But if you're Man United, you need to win trophies next season. If you get Kante in, guaranteeing someone in that position. If you get Rice in, it's a bit of a risk for me.
Cool.
My heart's bleeding for you, Matt. You started off by going that you're getting unfair treatment from refs as Man United. Now you're saying that, it's just such a burden having to win trophies. And I say, well, at the very least, we need to get N'Golo Kante, the best defensive midfielder in the world. Otherwise, I'm not even going to watch it.
I'll settle for Ndidi, I said that.
Sam,
He's a good player.
Sam, which one of those players stands out to you then as an ideal signing for United? And Ndidi, Rice, Kante, or Basuma?
Oh, you always think about what Alex Ferguson would have done, and you said Grealish was a classic Fergie signing. Fergie would have gone and got Grealish, someone like Grealish. Maybe right now, if United are in this mode of second, trying to get first next season, Kante would have been his type of signing. Someone a bit older, someone to do it now for a couple of seasons, buy you a bit of time.
A la Van Persie, yeah.
But I think Basuma's the shout. I think there's a good option in Basuma that I think someone's going to take. I think he's more cost effective, but
yeah.
I think he'll do as good. I think he'll do as good a job in the short term, at least. If you had to buy someone else, I think Basuma's the one.
Interesting.
Thing is, Man United a second are going for probably more next season. I see Basuma at more sort of mid-table side like a Spurs or an Arsenal.
I mean, that's funny. But we
Yeah,
whatever.
Guys,
someone like Højbjerg wouldn't be a bad.
Yes.
Højbjerg, yeah.
You can say what you like about Jose, and I'm sure Sam will tell us exactly what he wants to say about Jose. But Højbjerg for me was like one of the signings of the summer. Superb player. Good business.
Højbjerg needs to be unleashed. I think Højbjerg gets told to play in a way that he's better than the role he's given. I think he has to be more involved in play. Maybe if we had a better defender.
He always had Romeo behind him at Southampton, didn't he? He was just that kind of Machiavelli role.
Yeah.
So give him a bit more role.
He needs. I know it's such an easy comparison to me, but he needs to be played more like Busquets. Just let him dictate things. But do you know what I mean? Let him take the ball from the centre back. Let him start things rather than just being a ball winner and rolling it away. He needs more of the ball.
Yeah, not quite at the level of Busquets though yet, is he? Let's be honest.
No, not yet. No.
But look, let's move things along. That's enough. We've essentially spent.
We didn't even talk about the game.
We've essentially spent 20 minutes talking about a 0-0.
It's a shit game. Don't worry.
Everyone pick one word to describe Manchester United Leeds. I'll start. Terrible.
We can praise Bielsa though for the tactics yesterday, because I know Roz will be.
Oh yeah.
How Leeds played and how Bielsa changed his stripes.
Yeah.
Roz?
Nah, I'm not going to be.
Guys, like watching a post-match interview with Bielsa.
I knew it'd be else to be like this.
No. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about Wolves Burnley, which was 4-0. Anyone first to answer wins a prize, which is as yet undefined. When was the last time Burnley scored 4 goals in a Premier League match?
Never been done.
Never.
In the last 10 years.
Was first.
I like how you played the averages there, Sam. These guys both went hard on never. No, it was 2018.
The commentator said that it,
22nd of September
about
2018, they beat Bournemouth at home. On the score sheet, Matej Vidra, 2 for Ashley Barnes, and 1 for one of your old mob, Sam and Lennon.
It doesn't count if it's against Bournemouth, though, does it?
Maybe not, yeah. But Chris Wood hat-trick, and he set one up. First New Zealander to score a hat-trick in the Prem. So, well done to you, sir. Matt, what did you make of this game?
It was nice to see Burnley trying to play some football for a change. I to criticise the way Burnley play, but the budget they've had, the job Sean Dyche has done. He's done brilliantly there. They do what they do it well. He knows his starting 11. I think against United they were almost numbered 1 to 11 on the pitch, and that's the same lineup they would pick every game, week after week. They're like the Ron Seal of football, aren't they? They do what they say on the tin. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be in your face. And if you don't like it, tough luck.
But like yesterday, Roz, they showed signs of it was almost like watching Brazil. It was like, do you know what I mean? Like the way they zipped it about, and
Dwight McNeil's a hell of a player, and totally not in a Sean Dyche Burnley kind of mould. You come to expect to see kind of the Goodmansons, the Jeff Hendricks in those kind of positions, still kind of hard-working, tough players. Dwight McNeil was just top. Well, maybe not top. He's a great player and a great talent. Still very young. The pass, well, he had a couple of assists, I think, didn't he? They've actually got some good players. I know they get this reputation of just being kind of hard-working, in your face and that. Ashley Westwood's a hell of a player. Doesn't get enough credit. Tarkowski and me, I would say, are one of the most consistent centre-half pairings. And if you look at every top side, they seem to be looking for the perfect pairing. Arsenal have about 8 centre-halves. Tottenham, I think they've probably had about 24 different back fours this season.
25,
Is it 25?
No.
Maybe I was looking for that kind of magical pairing and that chemistry, and Dyche has just done it as an next centre-half himself. Used to play for a little club called Millwall, as did Chris Wood. And he had the game of his life. I thought absolutely sensational. The finish on the first one, blinding.
Yeah. Matt Loughton as well deserves a shout. I think
he's a great player.
Great player, yeah.
And has a great goal in him and all. Like watching Brazil at times. Like Matt Loughton scored a hell of a goal earlier in the season. They've got some really good players, Burnley.
Yeah, and that victory puts them in 14th place on 36 points. Still, they might make a late run for the top half with the team. Looking at the teams above them, it's Palace, Wolves, Arsenal, Villa, and Leeds. Like you could see, I'm not 100% sure on their running, but I mean that would be a good season for Burnley, wouldn't it, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, it would. I think. I mean, for how they seem to always start a season versus how they finish a season, anything that's kind of around 13th and above should be very good for them. As long as whatever happens in 5 years or 10 years, if they can build on this sort of stuff now, is what makes now valid. I just want to say, Chris Wood. I don't mean this in as a joke, but he looks a bit like a slightly lab created gone wrong Harry Kane. He's got like a name like Harry Kane, and he plays a bit like Harry Kane. Like I genuinely think Chris Wood is such a good little player. Like
I know it's not a championship podcast, it's a Premier League podcast, blah 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 blah. Joe's gonna bollock me.
Oh, but Harry Kane played for Millwall, yeah.
No, this is genuinely true, right? Harry Kane came and did wonders for us at Millwall, and when he left, the player we got in to replace him was Chris Wood on loan. He was West Brom at the time, and we were looking for a like-for-like player. And Chris Wood also did really well.
Yeah.
So they are,
I genuinely, what next? Like, not that you haven't seen it, but next time you watch Chris Wood, the way he plays football, the way he uses the ball, the way he shoots, the way he shapes his body, there's a lot of Harry Kane in his style. And he's finished his first goal yesterday quality. It was. I've lost track of time, but yeah, it was a very Harry Kane-esque across the keeper.
I mean, it was potentially a ready-made replacement for Kane at Spurs. Would you take him? Levy definitely would. He banked the 150 million for Kane. Pay 5 million for Wood.
Yeah.
He'd be like, see you later.
But I like Chris Wood.
He's older than Harry Kane.
Mm,
Chris Wood's 29, isn't he? Harry Kane's 27.
27, yeah, nearly 28.
Yeah.
I like Chris Wood. I would have Chris Wood as a backup to a very good number one.
What, keeper?
Mate, he's no Vincent Janssen, mate. He's never going to be a Vincent Janssen.
Vinny J. Peace.
Okay. Let's move on, lads. If you're watching and you're enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn those notifications on so you know whenever we go live. We're going to talk now about Saturday night's game, possibly the upset of the weekend. I mean, when we did our predictions yesterday, Ros, we all said Brighton would beat Sheffield United, didn't we? It's sort of like a given. But it's the Premier League. Welcome to the EPL. Anyone can beat anyone on their day. And Sheffield United won 1-0. Ros, what did you make of this encounter?
It showed me a couple of things. I was talking about Villa probably getting a bit complacent earlier and not really having anything to play for and just not really being the same side. I think there are a few sides like that. As Graham Souness would say, they're already on the beach. And I think you had a thing where Brighton are probably safe just from how poor Fulham have been and the fact that there probably will be 3 sides worse than them. And actually Sheffield United have nothing to lose. And they've also got a very good but also quite an expensive squad. Not when they first came up, but they spent big... they spent a bit of money when they first came up, but they spent quite a lot following that. They got Brewster from Liverpool. Before that, they got David McGoldrick from Ipswich, who was really consistent in the Championship, really good player. And I think probably has about, I'm going to guess, let's say like 5 or 6 goals this season, which sounds shocking. But actually, for the amount of goals that Sheffield United have scored, I can't think of many that they've scored that he hasn't finished. Like, in terms of the chances they're creating for him, he's still a very good player, and I can see him going to I don't know, a Palace or something, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of, he's a good player. But Sheffield United have a very good squad. They almost got into Europe last season.
Yeah, it's hard to believe, isn't it? We're like looking back now.
They can beat anyone on their day, and maybe now the pressure's off, they're kind of just letting loose a bit, kind of showing the quality they have. And maybe playing for Premier League contracts with other teams, and kind of going, actually, I don't really fancy that Championship.
Matt,
shot result.
Matt, are Brighton on the beach?
Yeah, I think he's right. I think Ros is hitting it on the head there. He can pretty much call themselves safe. I know it's only 7 points, but can you see Fulham picking up 7 more points than Brighton?
I can't see them picking up 7 corners, mate.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think Brighton need to be careful next season though, because they remind me a lot of Bournemouth and do anyhow. They play some really good football. They've got some great technical players, but they struggle to finish games off and they struggle to keep clean sheets. So it's all very well and good being a good team and getting lots of praise and playing great football, and they play some fabulous football. They can dominate games against the big teams, but unless you're going to score goals and stop conceding them, doesn't matter what you do in the 90 yards in between that. So I think they need to be careful.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take a break from talking about the weekend's fixtures to have a little chat with Sam. Now, has anyone got any questions for Sam about Spurs? Well, we've got a Spurs. You're the first ever Spurs fan on English Premier League Weekly. So first of all, congrats for that.
Thank you.
It's taken me 3.5 months to pluck up the courage to have a Spurs fan on. You know, I'm literally feeling sick every time I look in the direction of your shirt. I mean, that's obviously disgusting. But
I fronted up and worn one.
Yeah, no, fair play.
What's that plain black t-shirt?
This is I wear black. It's slimmer, you know. Like,
he's an ultra. It's like he turns up like a black cap.
I actually no, I'll reserve my right to wear my shirt, you know, on a, you know, on my own basis. I don't know. I'm kind of protesting at the moment, is what I'm trying to say. So
I quite like that shirt because you get, you know, those kind of vintage kits you get nowadays. And you go to a football ground and everyone's wearing a vintage kit, and you're like, fuck off, you weren't alive in 1970 when that kit was they're all buying them offline and they're always like pristine condition. And for me, like, if you didn't watch that team in that season, you can't have the kit. Like it doesn't. It just makes you feel a bit ill. But like what Nike have done this season is all their kind of third kits have been those like really classic 90s kits. So it's kind of nostalgic. It looks really nice in the 90s, but also I don't blame anyone wearing them because they would be watching.
It's a very 90s Arsenal Nike tick and slightly uncomfortable.
Has it got like Spurs written at the back at the bottom or anything like that? Because Arsenal used to. I could dig it out now, but it used to say Gunners on the bottom of the back of the thing. They have the shirt hanging out.
No, none of that. It's just got a pattern to look like our shiny empty stadium.
Talking of writing on shirts, what I did see, Sam, was that Spurs released a T-shirt. See that? It was available for purchase. And, oh, bless you, it said 2021 League Cup winners.
Did they actually release it?
They leaked it. It was like they put it available by mistake.
Oh, right. Oh, you mean the internet showed you it got leaked, the trustworthy internet?
Yeah, good old wiki.
I think, money's money.
Oh, you're like Mourinho. Money. Shirts and football's football.
Yeah.
I guess.
Why the hell is a question for Sam? For a manager that not only is known for winning trophies, not only has a very good record, given the teams that he's been in charge of against Pep in this country. I think it's about 50-50, which is pretty good against Pep. And also a manager that's notorious of winning the League Cup. But why would you sack him a week before you're actually in a final and can actually put something in your trophy cabinet?
I
still have a trophy cabinet.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe like sell it to save costs.
No. Thanks, Millwall fan. But part of me thinks Mourinho was like, shit, nobody likes this Super League plan. Quick, sack Mourinho. That was his main driver. But we didn't even get to enjoy it because the Super League took over it all. And then by the time the Super League had ended, we couldn't go back and enjoy Mourinho enough.
I'm sure it wasn't that there was this new hotshot manager that was out pepping Pep. That was out Cruyffing Cruyff.
Didn't the main star play for Millwall, didn't he?
New hotshot manager, and his name was Ryan Mason. He said, "This is the man that I need to bring us the glorious Carabao Cup."
Did Mason play for Millwall as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was there at the same time as Harry Kane, but he didn't play the game. He didn't redo it.
I think the damage Mourinho was doing to the squad, I just think Matt, I'm sure you can attest to it. The one thing I hate about it all the most is I allowed myself to be charmed by him at the start. And those first few months he was charming. Like he charmed us all, but I'm disappointed I replaced my grief for losing Poch with believing in Jose Mourinho, and I wish I hadn't bothered. It has been just coating players off, throwing players under the bus every 10 weeks, and then to bring them back in as the saviours to replace the other ones he's thrown under the bus repeatedly over and over. I was done with him, and I'm sure everyone at the club was just done with his attitude and his negativity.
Sam,
I think Spurs had no chance with him in charge against Man City. Yes, I know he's got a good record in finals. I know he's got a good record against Pep, but he'd lost the dressing room totally. And we saw it at Man United. We were
saw it at Chelsea
awful.
as well.
We had no hope, no belief, no plan, no tactics. I think Levy probably just thought, well, I've got this ESL stuff going on. We've got cup final coming up. I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. I've got nothing to lose because we've lost with Mourinho. They would have got hammered 3 or 4-0.
Yeah, I think after
they played United last week or 2 weeks ago, and it's the worst Spurs performance I've seen against United in 20 years, probably. They were absolutely dreadful. No life, no spirit, nothing. They'd have got torn apart by Man City under Mourinho. At least they showed a bit of spine to defend pretty well for 90 minutes under Mason.
Yeah.
Which,
spine or sheer blind luck. Man City's finishing.
Man
for me,
City's
like
finishing.
Sterling, not to get on City, but like Sterling can't start for England. He can't finish a fucking dinner. Like Man City were in the final third. They were creating the chances, but they're finishing. And Lloris was the best.
To be fair, I thought
Hugo Lloris was superb.
Given under Mourinho, we either set up to defend or the team just regressed into defensive shape. we looked much more capable at defending yesterday against City than we have in 6 to 12 months under Mourinho. And we weren't trying to play defensive. We just looked more capable of defending. I mean, Reguilon never got into the game. Aurier gets a lot of stick. He was okay, but neither of them had any cover. It was just we just got stuck defending and couldn't not defend. And Kane clearly wasn't fit.
Guys, I'm gonna have to hold you there. Like, obviously it's a Premier League show, so like we'll keep it a bit more Premier League.
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
but
yeah,
no.
but in the Premier League,
bringing it back round. Sam, I just want to know: did you watch the Amazon documentary?
I did.
Yeah, and from a Spurs fan's point of view, can you give us a very succinct kind of take home from it? What did you think of it as a Spurs fan?
My take home is retrospectively, it was a very cleverly edited piece to make Mourinho look like he was the charming saviour that we thought he might be.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think probably
really succinctly and really, really quickly. Just doesn't even need an answer. But on that and on the documentary and on giving Poch no time at all in it, and basically the documentary starting when this saviour came along like Jose, Daniel Levy clearly trying to build him up as this guy that Spurs need.
Yeah, I mean,
where does he go from now? Because he's effectively sold his soul, hasn't he?
So
you've got all this kind of Glenn Hoddle, entertaining Tottenham. We don't, they break your heart, but don't really have these entertaining players. He's now gone, right, we need trophies. That's what we need. We've got a good squad of players. He's sold his soul to get the most boring, but one of the most kind of successful managers. Where does he go now?
I mean, we'll get a Poch light in. Our next manager will be a Pochettino light. It'll be a progressive younger manager attacking. Whether it's Scott Parker, Graham Potter. I mean,
Hassan Hutel.
I like Ralph.
Just nick all of.
I like Ralph. Yeah, just keep them coming. Keep them coming. Yeah,
keep them coming from the South Coast. Yeah.
I've got a lot of time for Ralph. But yeah, a progressive younger manager. I mean, I like Graham Potter. I like Scott Parker. I think someone young, progressive is. I think if people have got money to buy our players, they will this summer. We might get lucky that no one, because they're on good contracts and no one's got the big money to deal with Levy. We might get lucky and keep a few names. That's
one thing. That's one thing Levy has done traditionally, isn't it? He's got his players on good contracts, and he does get what the players are worth. Anyway, look, guys, we've got a few minutes until kickoff in tonight's match, which is Leicester against Crystal Palace, isn't it? But first, let's have a very quick word on the remaining two fixtures we're going to talk about: West Ham, Chelsea. Roz, in a nutshell, what happened?
So they played a game of football. A guy called Timo Werner scored a goal, and then a team called Chelsea, managed by a guy called Tommy Tuchel, kept a clean sheet, which meant in the rules of the game of football that they won the game because after 90 minutes. I know it's not always like Florentino Perez doesn't want it to be 90 minutes, but as it stands, 90-minute game of football. They didn't concede a goal in that time after scoring that one goal, which meant that Chelsea FC won the football match.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Roz. And that was kind of what I was asking for. I mean, I certainly asked for it, live Chelsea 4th on 58 points, West Ham 5th on 55 points, and there's only one more game to talk about. Matt, I'll come to you on this one. Liverpool against Newcastle. Newcastle rescuing a stoppage time point.
Yeah, the Liverpool failure continues in defending their title or having any sort of remnants of credibility in the season after winning a title. Couldn't be happier, as you can imagine. Basking in the silence of Liverpool fans on social media, etc., etc. But look, they've had some injuries this season. The way, and I said this when they hired Klopp and everyone was raving, if you look at his career, his history through Germany and now in Liverpool as well, he sets his teams up to play a certain way. After 2 or 3 years, the players, their bodies break down. They can't keep playing that week after week, season after season. So he either needs to refresh the squad with 3 or 4 first team players, or you're going to have a season like this. It happened at Mainz, it happened at Dortmund, it's happening now at Liverpool. He's still a great manager. He's still a quality manager. And, there was talk earlier in the season of him getting sacked, which is just criminal. Just shows the fickle nature of some fans of certain clubs. But, he's a great manager. It's a tough season for them. I don't think you can write them off next season. I think, Van Dijk back, a couple of signings. They can have Fabinho back in defensive midfield. Salah's still playing well, still scoring goals. Mane could find his form again. Jota's a good player, good signing. So I think for them, it's about next season now.
Yeah.
There's an outside chance they get top four, but I think I said last time on the show, I think the top four is nailed down as City, United, Leicester, Chelsea. I can't see past them four, regardless of how close West Ham and Liverpool are. I can't see.
We're gonna say Everton, who are actually above the table, but yeah.
Guys, I'm going to bring you. Go on, Matt. Last word.
I was just going to say on the handball, the disallowed goal for Wilson as well. I think everyone knows the rules. I don't know why there's a fuss about it. If it hits your hand or arm before scoring, the goal's taken away. It's chalked off. Why are people questioning why it was chalked off? It's beyond me. That's the one thing for me that VAR keeps getting right this season. Where it hits a hand and they score, the goal's chalked off.
He was pushed in the back on the way to it.
Yeah.
So that's forensically they'll check. Yeah, they'll check the handball forensically.
Than the handball. Yeah, but people are questioning the handball, not the push, which is just
say that. You can say what you like about the fact that he was in a natural position and the fact that he was kind of. The fact is, the ball wouldn't have fallen where it did if he was controlling that with his stomach. I'm in total agreement, and I'm baffled by the fact that Twitter's going berserk.
And
it's never a match of the day, and other pundits too, ex-players.
Yeah, exactly.
Lads, I love how passionate you all are and how much you want to talk, but it's great. But
Sorry, Joe, you trying to speed us up?
no, I'm trying to stop you. I said to Sam very succinctly, can you say something? I said to you, Ros, very succinctly, can you say? I said to Matt, have a quick last word. And what happened? A fucking VAR discussion erupts. Like, come on. I'm flying the plane. You lot can give out the biscuits. All right, here we go. Team news tonight. Leicester against Crystal Palace. Leicester have got Schmeichel in goal. They've got a back three or back five. Soyuncu, Evans, Fofana at centre back. Thomas on the left. Castagna on the right. Tielemans and Ndidi in the middle. And then Maddison behind Iheanacho and Vardy. Crystal Palace's lineup. Gaito in goal. Van Aanholt, Dan, Kouyaté and Ward across the back four left to right. Midfield four across the left to right. Eze, Riedvald, Milivojevic and Ayew. And up front, Zaha and Benteke. It's just kicked off a couple of minutes ago. It's currently 0-0. Apparently, I'm just reading the players took the knee except for Wilfried Zaha.
He's against it.
Yeah,
against
a few weeks ago, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I want, guys, from you
He's
now...
not just a racist.
Is it? What I want to know from you guys is I want a quick prediction, and man of the match choice. So I want your score and your man of the match. Who's ready to go first?
I'll go first because I did actually look this up beforehand, and I will be quick. Wilfried Zaha has scored more goals against Leicester in the Premier League than any other club. So
wow.
I was kind of fancying 1-0 Crystal Palace Zaha to score. Then I realised Leicester are playing for the Champions League. Palace are mid-table, nothing to play for. Leicester are a much better team. It's going to be 3-0, 3-1 Leicester. Man of the match, Iheanacho.
Nice. Ross?
I'll be super quick. So it is said that the game of football originated in China. Research has since shown. 3-0 Leicester, James Maddison, man of the match.
Oh my God. Sam?
Yeah, 3-1 Iheanacho.
I'm going to go 1-0 Palace. Fuck it.
Oh.
And I'm going to go Jairo Riedvald to score that one goal.
What the fuck? I don't think he's ever scored a goal in his career.
First time for everything, mate. First time for everything. Right.
I'll just go for Kasper Schmeichel could score a hat-trick. Why not?
Ros, do you want to tell us about the Fantasy Premier League briefly before we say goodbye?
Yeah, why not? So, funny enough, Chris Wood, with those 3 goals and the assist, he actually did quite well. He got 20 points, which is more than anybody. Ben Chilwell got an assist for the Chelsea goal, that Werner one that I told you about earlier. Got clean sheet and all, so 12 points for Ben Chilwell. Aaron Wan-Bissaka got 9 points because he got 3 bonus points in that clean sheet against Leeds. I don't really know why. I watched the game and he was average. I think they were just looking for players to give bonus points to.
Who knows how the official Fantasy Premier League rank their points? Like, who knows? Honestly, you know.
A load of blokes decide it in a room together. It's the same as any decision. Just a load of old men that just go, this is not going to be. Ashley Westwood got that assist. I was rating him earlier. He got 9 points. As did El Ghazi, Salah, Wan-Bissaka, Ben Godfrey.
Any other? Yeah. Okay. Nice. Very good. So if you had those players in your team, then you were doing quite well. And Ros, I'm guessing you had a few of those in your team.
I actually only had Chris Wood, but no one else did.
And that is literally what has put you top of your table.
Your man Lacazette, he's injured, isn't he? So I had to find a player, and I thought Chris Wood might do quite well against Wolves. And now I'm top of the league, mate. So
fair play, well done. Right, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Sam, cheers for joining us, mate. We'll have you back on again soon if you're up for it. You want to join us again? Yeah. Matt, same to you, mate. Thanks for joining us. And Ros, you can do one, mate. I'll see you next week. I'll see you later, guys. Cheers.